Hello and welcome to JRock's Babylon. I'm your host, Jason JRock Houston, and our guest today is David K Starr, who many people know from the bands Vicious Rumor, Chastain, and Wildestarr. Last time I talked to you, we were talking about Wildestarr. Is that still an active project, Dave?
Well, thanks for having me. First, it's good to be talking to you again. Wildstar is sort of on a indefinite hiatus. London had a stroke last year.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, well, I don't talk a lot about,
Of course not. Yeah.
sometimes people on social media, I always jokingly say they get a hangnail, they have to tell everybody about it.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah. I get
I
you.
very rarely talk about things that are going on that are heavy duty in my
Yeah,
life. So
private.
I never mentioned anything about her stroke, and I
Okay.
talked very little about my Parkinson's. But she struggled to be able to sing on the same level that she wanted to, and she's
Okay.
recovering. She's doing okay. She's having a pacemaker put in next week.
Oh, well,
So
we wish
um,
her we wish her a recovery or whatever, or she's
yeah.
doing good. Now that is kind of a maybe talking about the new video which I checked out for your new single, "Not Dead Yet." And as you said, I kind of understand it was written about the fact that you're now dealing with Parkinson's disease yourself. And I got to tell you, Dave, after watching the video, I mean, you may be in the early stages, I don't know that, but you put on one hell of a performance in that video.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud with the way that the song turned out. And my wife actually, she may not be singing right now, but she's still helping me with other stuff, and she directed the video. So
Oh wow.
it all came together. I'm in either stage one. There's five stages to Parkinson's.
Uh-huh.
One is the early stages, and five is basically incapacitated and needing 24-hour care. I might be in that gray area between one and two, maybe one and a half. I'm just fortunate because there's a lot of people who I have a personal friend of mine. I've had Parkinson's for 5 years.
Oh wow. Okay.
I had a friend who was diagnosed and was dead within 5 years. So he went south pretty quick. So it's just all over the map. And Michael J. Fox, who everybody knows,
Sure.
has been dealing with it for almost 30 years, and he's still alive. He's having a really rough time, but
Yeah.
he's hanging in there.
And Glenn Tipton, of course, is unable to
Yeah,
tour with Judas Priest, but he's been dealing for like 15 years. And then, of course, we just lost Ozzy, who I think's had for about 15 years or so.
yeah.
And so a lot more and more people are kind of getting this. I don't know if you want to talk about it or not, and we'll respect if you don't. But I was curious, how did you get diagnosed? Were you not feeling like 100% your usual self, or did you just kind of go to the
No,
doctor?
I was having tremors in my right hand and right arm about 5 years ago, and went to the doctor, neurologist,
Mm.
and um, he told me, he said, "You've got early Parkinson's. You're in early stages of Parkinson's." And he didn't even do any tests. He didn't do any what do you call it? He did
Oh,
visual.
okay.
He did some tests with my arms and legs, and he watched me walk up and down the hall. And I
Wow.
told him, I said, "How can you tell?" And he says, "Because I've been doing this for 30 years." And he goes, "But we're going to have you get an MRI and a DAT scan where they actually took pictures of my brain, which confirmed it." So, uh, yeah, that was sometime in 2020. It's been
And it
about 4 or 5 years.
must have been shocking when you first learned that, but you're apparently living with it, as they say, dealing with it.
Well, it wasn't. The thing is, when I went into the neurologist, I knew something was wrong.
Yeah.
So, and I'm one of those people that takes forever to get to the doctor. So I may have had the preliminary tremors, and it may have been a month or two before I actually got in to see a neurologist. So I knew something was wrong.
Yeah.
So when he told me you had Parkinson's, it wasn't like, "Oh, you must be mistaken."
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
you got to do the test again. I can't have Parkinson's. Nobody in my family's ever
yeah.
had it. So, no, I was just sort of matter of fact about it. I remember I walked out and I called London and I said, yeah, because I got Parkinson's. I called my sister and I called my
Of course,
daughter because everybody was waiting to hear from me.
sure.
I just kind of took it in stride, and maybe it's just
Yeah,
the way I am. I belong to some people, to some Facebook Parkinson's groups, and there are people on who get on there and say, "I just got diagnosed yesterday. I want to kill myself," and
wow.
I've never felt. There are times when I'm frustrated,
Yeah,
when I have a hard time doing certain things. Sometimes I have a hard time working the keyboard on the computer and a
okay.
mouse.
Yeah,
Some days that can be very, very difficult to do. Sometimes playing the guitar is a little rough. Um, uh, some other things here and there, but I've never wanted to give up. I mean,
yeah.
that's
That's great. You have that attitude because there, you could also be the opposite situation where you go to a doctor and they tell you, you know what, there's something going on, but we can't pinpoint it just yet. And so, in a way, at least you have an answer as to what it is.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'd rather know than not know, and because I got on a really heavy medic, I've
Mm.
got two kinds of medicine that I take 4 times a day, every 6 hours.
Oh, wow.
So it's basically I'm at the limit of the medication for the
Uh,
Parkinson's right now. I The neurologist told me I can't take any more medicine to alleviate the symptoms. I'm maxed out.
okay, I got you.
So he said basically what we need to do. This is where it gets a little scary.
Hmm.
They have a thing called DBS, which stands for deep brain stimulation. They drill 2 holes in your brain,
Oh, wow.
your head, and they stuck electrodes down in there and they run the wires down to a pacemaker type, and it stimulates the damaged parts of the brain. So I'm, if I have the brain surgery, I'm holding that off till the last possible minute because
Yeah, of course.
I'm
Yeah,
not too thrilled about somebody drilling holes into
yeah,
my
yeah. I can understand.
skull.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? I don't want to
So
be a
we'll
Frankenstein,
Yeah, so
huh?
we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. So you said it's affected your playing a little bit, but you're still able to play. The doctor told you, may it ever get to the point where you can't play at all, or just kind of a wait and see game?
He didn't really address the playing, but I know that it's affected my playing. I have a hard. If you go back and listen to some of the stuff I did with Wildestarr, where I was playing all the guitars myself, there's some pretty intense, like Queensryche,
Sure, sure.
VR, VR sabotage type harmony stuff. And I have a tough time playing like that. I'll be honest with you.
Hmm.
It's hard for me to play like that anymore. So what you hear and you see on the new track, Not Dead Yet, is I've kind of scaled things back,
Yeah,
taken things down a notch. Instead of being frustrated and sitting in the studio and patching some difficult solo together, I just said to myself, you know what? Let's just do what you can do.
yeah.
And don't bitch about it and don't pull some kind of quick one where I had to do 20 punch-ins on a solo just to get through it because I'm
Yeah,
all
yeah.
messed up. No, I've taken it down a notch to where I feel more comfortable, and I still think it sounds good.
Yeah. I
I
mean, if that, I was gonna say, Dave, watching that video, if that's scaling it back, man, you really you hide it well.
Well, it's a whole different. This whole thing's been brand new for me. I'm sick. They say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but I'm 64, so
Uh-huh.
I've never really sang before, and so I wrote all the lyrics and sang. So I just kind of threw caution to the wind, and I told London, I said I want to try to sing this thing, and she was like, "Oh, really?" But she helped me in the studio. She coached me on a few parts, but it's all me. And there's no auto tune or pitch correction digitally. It's no.
It's amazing because
She added some effects, but it's all me. It's all
for
me.
being a first time singer, or not singing that much, I mean, the vocals are really one of the things actually that stand out. And maybe it's because of, what the song's about, you're able to kind of project what you're feeling since you're actually the one going through it, as opposed to writing the song and having somebody else sing the lyrics.
Well, that's a situation where I think it's a scenario where I might not be the greatest singer in the world, but I don't think anybody could sing this song besides me.
And Dave, I think what you and your fans might have just found out is you may not think you're the world's greatest singer, but you're not the world's worst singer either. I mean, I mean, to me, I would like to hear more of it. You know what I mean?
It's funny because I've gotten a lot. I remember when I first clicked the button to send the video live on YouTube,
Uh,
and I thought to myself, "Here we go. There's no turning back."
yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
know, if you listen to something like I have, and I'd heard it for months before we got to the point where the video was done and then had it released on YouTube. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I was happy with it. I wouldn't have released it, but just because I like it and I've heard it 100 times,
Oh, sure, sure, yeah.
you never know what the people out there are gonna are
Say, yeah.
thinking they're gonna say about it. But all the comments on YouTube, all the comments on social media have all been positive.
Mhm.
And I've had a couple people who have serious problems. I've got a friend of mine who had a stroke a
Oh,
couple
wow.
years ago, and he's paralyzed on one side of his body. And he
Yeah.
said he watched that video and he said it just was like, whoa, it really made an impact on him and really made him think. And that's such, you can't put a price tag on those things.
Oh, I know. I mean, even if you watch like the last, final Black Sabbath show that Ozzy did, you know, I think he gave it as all. He was in the chair. He wasn't up to 100%, but people loved that because you could tell that he lived for that day, and he's like, he wasn't going to die till he did that one last show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think too, I've heard like Brian May talk over years that like when Freddie Mercury was first diagnosed with AIDS, he told all the guys about being diagnosed, and he said, you know what, we can't do any live shows. I'm not really up to performing, but we're going to get in the studio and we're going to create as much new music. I don't know how long I have left. Is that kind of your attitude with this? You're just going to keep recording songs until you can't?
Well, I guess there was a part of me that, because some people have said, well, what are you doing? Is this a single off of an album? Are you
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
record
that's
music?
yeah.
What's going on? And to be honest with you, I'm not really the idea of doing at this stage of my life. The idea
Uh,
of doing full albums is
yeah,
uh, not really something I really want to do. I'd like
sure.
to maybe just keep, because I have a business that I run here from
Okay.
home, my guitar electronics business, Star Guitar Systems. I am busy,
Wow,
really busy,
wow. Okay, there
and
you go.
I don't think I want to do any albums from here on out. I would like to just do maybe a couple songs a year, release them with a video, and
That would
just
be fun. That's the modern way of doing it, anyways, and it seems to work for people. I mean, in today's modern day, you don't even need a record company. You just release the stuff independently.
I'm not anti
No, I
album.
got
For me to be able to put tens, first of all, I don't know if I could do a full album singing,
exactly. Yeah, yeah,
because just because I sound good on this,
yeah, yeah,
I'm not saying it's a fluke, but
yeah.
this is all new to me. Whether or not I could carry a record by myself, I really don't know. But like I was saying a minute ago, more, my brain is thinking more along the lines of releasing a couple of songs a year, and I'd be happy with that.
I think people would dig that, because you're still giving them a little something, and you haven't totally retired, but like you said, you got your business, you got your wife, and your own personal health you're dealing with, so
Yeah.
you got a lot on the table.
Yeah, it's things aren't the same, back in the day when I was in VR and it was, all for one and one
Yeah.
for all, and we were all young and broke, and we had no idea what we were doing or where we were going or where we were going to be a year from now. Now, 30, 35 years later, you look at life a lot differently, and at least I do. Um, so there's that.
And
But
then, I was also reading on your Facebook page, Dave, that you don't mind talking about it, the fact that you were so influenced by Ace Frehley, who, of course, another great rock legend we lost just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it's really sad.
Yeah,
Um, Especially when it's something that's not expected. You
kind
know,
of an accident. Yeah, yeah,
the way that he went. I mean, yeah, the guys are getting up there in age, but um, I think everybody was thinking, okay, he's 74. You know, these guys will probably live another 10 years,
yeah, yeah,
maybe more if they're lucky. You know, and it wasn't like he had a long drawn out disease or something. It
yeah,
was all of a sudden he was on tour playing, and then
yeah,
bang, he has this accident, and then
yeah,
yeah, it's just a real sad story. But
yeah.
he, I've had a couple people say I kind of sound like Ace on the new single, which is fine with me. You know, I whenever I go back and listen to Kiss Alive, I just think, man, that's the album that got me where I wouldn't be talking to you right
Oh,
now
sure.
if it
You know, and
wasn't
I
for
don't know if you
Kiss.
know, they just put out this killer box set of, it's got like the original version of the live concerts, totally
Yeah, I
unedited.
heard somebody on talking about that on Facebook today. I got to look into that a little
Yeah.
more.
It's a
But
it's a
yeah,
little pricey, but if you're a diehard Kiss fan, it's kind of worth it. They throw a bunch of little extras in there.
yeah.
Yeah. And so, that's like you're saying, Dave, people are getting up there in age. Another Kiss guy, Peter Criss, just announced at 80 years old, he's putting out his first album in like 20 years or something
Yeah,
like that. And so, Mick Jagger and Keith Richards are even Mick Jagger, after having two heart attacks, he still get up there, at his age, 81, 82, whatever he is. Yeah.
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 Rock's definitely aging.
Yeah.
It's hard to imagine seeing all of our heroes either dying or
Yeah.
up there.
And that's a sign that we're all getting older, and then you kind of like are wondering at this point, like, okay, who's going to be the next generation of rock stars? I don't think there's going to be like there was, but I think somebody's going to come along.
I don't know. I I honestly don't pay a lot of attention to new bands.
Yeah.
Um, the only I don't listen to a lot of music. Mostly when I do listen to music, it's music I'm writing,
uh
or it's the old classic stuff that I've been influenced by, whether it's Judas Priest or Kiss or Thin Lizzy or
yeah.
Blue Oyster Cult or UFO, that whole scene. But Yeah, it's weird, and and I'm one of them. I've been making records for 40 plus years now. The first VR album came out
Mm.
40 years ago this year, so um, yeah, it's crazy.
And
Getting
that,
old's weird. Getting old
yeah,
is
yeah.
weird.
And you have been through a lot, and some people may or may not be aware of the fact that you yourself have been sober. You struggled with alcohol addiction, from what I understand, for many, many years, but you kicked it, and kicked it 20 something years ago. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, it was 20, it marked 20 years. Thank you. It's 20 years. This just 3 months ago, whatever,
Yeah,
in
yeah,
August. I don't
something.
remember.
Yeah,
August
yeah.
5th.
I seen the post. That's why I
Yeah.
brought it up. Yeah,
So I'm actually thinking about maybe not talking. I only talk. Some people talk about this stuff all the time. I
for
don't. I
sure.
pick the day, the anniversary that I say something about it, and it's not to bring any kind of. Uh, I don't need the pat on the back. I do it
Oh no.
to share it with other people who might be struggling. So, but yeah, I kind of thought after 20 years, I thought, do I need to announce this anymore? Maybe I'll
Yeah.
just stop talking about it. But I don't know. I got a year to think
I think
about
it's
it.
something to be proud of. Not that you have to go around talking about it all the time, but you'd be amazed, even how your story might help somebody else. Or I imagine too, Dave, talking about being on some of these Facebook Parkinson disease pages or whatever. You probably encounter people that maybe some of them are your fans, maybe they're just learning about who you are. But I'm sure their stories, kind of touch you, and your story probably touches some of them. So that's why we bring it up.
Well, yeah, I'm always willing. With 20 years of being clean and sober, I can look back on my life and I've seen a lot of great things that I was able to do after I get the three Wildestarr albums is a perfect case in point. You know,
Mm.
I wrote all the music, I taught myself how to play guitar in my early 40s after playing bass all those years with VR and
Sure.
Chastain, and played all the guitars on those albums, wrote the music, and I would never have been able to do that if I wasn't clean and sober.
Oh, sure.
There's no
Yeah.
way. So there's three beautiful gifts right there that'll outlive me. That is proof of what you can do. Also, I started a new business when we moved out here to Texas. Uh, I, I hate talking about money, but I'm making more money now than I ever have in my entire life. So I'm living in a beautiful house. A lot of great things have happened in my life since I quit drinking that
Yeah.
never would have happened
And
if,
it's interesting. A lot of people are moving to Texas. I mean, California is a nice place to live, but it's got a lot of issues.
yeah, we got tired of the Bay Area, and it
Yeah.
just we had some stuff, some offers to come out here and take care of, get hooked back up with my family. My father had passed away, and I
Oh, wow.
hooked back up with my mom out here, and my daughter was living out here, and my sister. So we just kind of rolled the dice and said, let's go do it. So we've been here in northern part of Houston for almost 12 years now.
Oh, wow, wow. And I got to ask you, Dave, also in watching the new video, another thing that really impressed me was a killer band you had. Are those guys that you usually play with, or how did you find them?
Well, the bassist and drummer, Rich and Fabio, I found on a website called Fiverr.
Okay.
And I didn't know about Fiverr. My wife did. She said, because I needed to find a bass player and drummer to
Uh,
play on this thing. And um, Fiverr, people advertise their services on there, musicians,
sure.
recording engineers, producers, etc. So, and it said that these guys were the bass player and the drummer from Annihilator.
Mhm.
So I went, whoa, these
They're
guys are pretty
experienced. Yeah.
rocking. So anyway, to make a long story short, I reached out to them and I said, yeah, I used to play in Vicious Rumors, and oh, Fabio, the drummer, told me said that the Digital Dictator album was a huge influence on him. So anyway, it was all cool. So I just it just so happened that I got the rhythm section from Annihilator playing on the track with me. So, and it's another one of these situations where I've never met these guys.
Yeah.
I've never even talked to them on the phone. We emailed each other and they recorded the tracks over there, and the drummers, Fabio's in Italy, and I think Rich is in the UK, and they recorded their parts and recorded their video stuff in front of a green screen,
Oh,
and
wow.
stuff was all transferred over the internet back here, and but you watch the video, it looks like we're all together.
I was gonna say, it looks like you're in the same room, but that's
Well,
an amazing thing with speakers
that's
and
the
everything.
magic that London was able to work with all the green screen and the special effects. I don't know how to do any of
Yeah.
that stuff,
See,
but
that's
she,
amazing that, even after what she suffered through with the stroke, that she's still able to kind of be so involved behind the scenes, and do.
yeah, well, she also produced and engineered the music, not just the video, but she uh, recorded, me in the studio doing the vocals and all the guitar parts. So she basically produced and engineered this whole thing.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Wow.
so yeah, she's still involved.
And then, how do you feel about, kind of a YouTube experience, if you will, as opposed to back in the day, like when you might have had like one of your videos played on, Headbangers Ball or something? I mean, YouTube's kind of a unique experience. You really don't need that like you once did. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I remember on Headbangers Ball with that first VR video for Don't Wait for Me. Um, we'd stay up and watch Headbangers Ball to watch it. And I remember Steve Vai introduced it. Yeah, we got videos coming up from
This
blah
is,
blah blah blah
yeah.
blah and Vicious Rumors. And we were like, oh my God, we've hit the big time. But yeah, it's amazing how things have changed so radically now. I mean, it seems like an eternity, but it's not.
And the
It's
funny thing with YouTube is you can put the video up there, and as you can see, like with your video, it got pretty good numbers. And whereas back in the day, that's not necessarily you'd get it played on MTV. Back in the day, early days of MTV, everybody used to even like radio stations back in the days that you'd have to like sometimes like pay them to play the videos. So it's just kind of unique with what technology has become.
yeah. Well, back then, back then, you had to have a record deal basically
Yeah,
to get,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and we were on Atlantic, and so we had doors open for us. But today, things are totally different. You just, like you say, YouTube and all the social media stuff. Basically, you can bypass the record labels and put stuff up of your own. Like I don't have a record label for this.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
We're just doing it ourselves, promoting it. Our Chips helping me. Chipster PR's helping me with the some of the promo stuff. But yeah, I don't have a big record company like
Yeah, yeah,
Atlantic
yeah, and
Records.
they're very good at what they do. Chip and folks at Chipster PR, they've been giving me great interviews for so many years now, and I've interviewed you many times because of them, and so I thank them for that. And you brought up a Digital Dictator album for Vicious Rumors. That's like probably one of their most famous albums. When you were making that album, did you know did you know you were making a masterpiece or?
I think about that. That album's 38 years old.
Wow, yeah,
Um, I knew that we had something because the first album, Soldiers of the Night, was really strong, but Vinnie was gone. Vinnie Moore was gone before we even released the album. So there was that. And Gary St. Pierre, the singer, was really struggling in a lot of aspects. I don't want to bag on the guy
no,
because
no, 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 no. Yeah,
but we had to get a permanent guitar player and we had to get a new singer. And I'm the one, regardless of what anybody else says, I am the one who brought Carl and Mark into the band. And that really changed everything for us. We got a world-class singer, and Mark is as good as anybody out there.
yeah,
And he was then too. And he's just an amazing songwriter and guitar player. And so that was just the two missing pieces of the puzzle. Now, I knew the record was special, but nobody has a crystal ball thinking 38 years in the future.
sure, yeah,
But I talk to people on social media all the time who say, man, those first four albums are just gold. I listen to you guys, those VR albums all the time. It's the soundtrack of my life. And they're saying the same things to me
yeah,
that I would say to KK Downing if I met KK Downing.
sure, sure,
I'd
yeah,
say, all those classic albums. So it's just, I'm just grateful for doing
yeah.
something that people have enjoyed, and the fact that those records are still selling.
Oh,
I
sure,
still get royalty checks,
that's
so
great. Yeah,
they're
yeah,
still in print. They're still selling. People are still listening every day, so
yeah.
it's amazing.
Because that's a very sad thing when for whatever reason like any album is kind of out of print for whatever reason. Maybe it wasn't very popular. Or why bother printing it? Nobody's buying it. But to have your music still available, that's like I think a real carrot in your hat, if you know what I mean. Because people are
Well,
still,
my comment has always been the same, and that's good music or great music is timeless. It
Mhm.
doesn't matter when it came out. Uh, so it could be 40, 50 years old. Like I know most of the music I listen to is from the 70s and
Oh
80s.
yeah, yeah, me too.
So
Yeah,
it's the same thing there. So people are listening to the records that we made 30, 40
yeah,
years ago. So it's cool. I mean, I just
yeah,
music is timeless. It lasts
yeah.
forever.
So just like two more questions, and I'll let you go, Dave. I was curious. So once you're out of Chastain and Vicious Rumors, what was the point when you decide, okay, I think I'm going to do my own thing rather than join, another established band?
Well, what happened was I had I think that Chastain In and Outrage album came out in 2004,
Okay.
and th in 2005 I got clean and sober. And
Okay.
part of my regimen to stay on track was playing the guitar. And I always play guitar a little bit, but
Okay.
everybody knew me as the bass player from
Yeah.
VR or Chastain. So I sat in my office at home and I just, instead of drinking, I played guitar and wrote songs. And I got really good really fast. And I had a little detour. I got back together with Jeff and Larry, and we ended up recording the Warball album that came out in 2006. With we had Brad Gillis and
Okay.
James Rivera from Hellstar. So I did that, but I'd been clean and sober for about 6 months. But after I recorded that album, I told my wife, I said, you know what? I can't do I can't do this anymore. I've been clean and sober for 6 months. I've been playing guitar, writing all these songs. This is what I want to do. I want to start writing songs with you, my wife. So
Yeah.
we started writing songs. So that's how the whole thing came together, really.
Wow. Wow. That's fun. And then the other thing I was going to ask you. So you brought up the fact that everybody knew you as a bass player. And you obviously played guitar, but had you always wanted to kind of primarily be a guitarist, and you just because of the bands you joined, they needed a bass player?
Basically, I started out on guitar in high school, but I wasn't very good, and uh, I think I envisioned myself as being the next Paul Stanley.
Okay. Yeah.
But instead of being the next Paul Stanley, all I did was just write a bunch of shitty songs and sing with my attempt to be a singer with my yeah, I just a lot of people when they're young they're
Yeah.
floundering
Yeah.
around in music and they don't really know what they're doing. I went through a couple of years of not really knowing what I was
Uh,
doing, and uh, every band that I was in, we couldn't find a
yeah.
bass player or hang on to a bass player.
Interesting.
So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just I think it was the summer of '81. I just said to myself, this is like the little light bulb went
Yeah.
off
Yeah.
above my head, and I said, maybe I should just be the answer to the question. So the summer '81, I bought my first bass and spent that summer trying to put on the thinking cap of
Yeah.
being a
Yeah.
bass player, which is something I never envisioned or had any interest in doing. But
Wow.
it opened up a lot of doors for me.
Amazing. Amazing. You
So
just never know. Yeah.
yeah, so I don't regret it at all because it opened a lot of doors, and I got it was really great. By the time I recorded the that first VR album, I'd only been playing, I guess, probably 3 years or so on
Oh,
the bass.
wow.
So,
Wow.
um, yeah, it was a good decision. I don't.
And then that all led you to meeting Wild and hooking up with her and Wildstar and what you're doing
Yeah, and
now.
then everything kind of went full circle. Except that I when I was originally playing guitar, I couldn't play worth a crap.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, or when I did the
Yeah.
Wildestarr albums with my wife, things just went on to a whole different level of ability, and I
Sure.
really
Sure.
being clean and sober and getting all the drugs and booze out of my system and just being able to think straight for once in umpteen years. So yeah, just
Eh,
but I still played bass because I played not only did I play all the guitar parts on those Wildstarr albums, I also played all the bass too.
Oh, sure. That's what you're known for,
So
right? Yeah. Yeah. And then
um yeah.
and then I think reason Wildstar worked too, as I would imagine based on what you've said over years, that London was a great muse for you while you were making that music.
Oh
Kind of
yeah, definitely.
inspiration. And
Oh yeah.
yeah,
She was she's the best singer I've ever worked with.
and
And
that's saying a lot. Yeah.
I mean, I don't mean that doesn't, I don't mean to say anything bad about any other singer I've ever worked with, but when I watch her in the
Yeah.
studio and read the lyrics that she's written and the expert, the finely tuned harmonies that melodies that she created, it was just on another level.
Cause I can tell you when I heard that Wildstar music for the first time, I can honestly telling myself, what really makes this stuff stand out is it sounds like nothing I've ever heard before. Um,
Yeah,
Like I can't say they're trying to sound
I'm
like
very,
Alec.
I'll tell you, man, I'm very proud of those three albums that we did. They were the best thing that I was ever involved in my career. And I've played on some pretty damn
Yes,
good,
you have, Dave.
good
Um,
albums. So
and I,
I've been
and I don't
blessed.
think you really need to, Dave. But I was going to ask very last thing. You have so many great stories. You lived the life. Have you ever given any thought? Because a lot of people do it. Putting out a book of your own.
I've been asked that. Um, I don't know.
Well, you got all this other stuff to.
I could write a story about my life. I'm just not sure. You know, I never got to that level of
Yeah,
where if KK Downing writes a book or Paul Stanley writes a book or
yeah,
Rob Halford writes a book, there's a built-in audience of,
yeah.
millions of people around the globe. I never got to that level. So I don't know how many people want to hear what I
Well,
have to
you
say.
might be
I don't
surprised. I
know.
mean, who knows? Well, David K. Starr, great talking to you as usual, my friend. I'm going to put this interview up later today. I'll send you the link, but thanks for doing this. And next time you have anything to promote, we'll do it again, okay?
All right, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to shoot my mouth off.
Anytime. It's great talking to you, Dave. Take care, my
Okay,
friend. Bye
thanks a
bye.
lot. Bye bye.